Right, we're going to make a stir fry today. So we have got some meat that we're going to use. You can use tinned pork, you could use cooked chicken that you've got left over. That's some vegetable protein that I've got as well that you can swap in if you wanted to. Then I've got a selection of vegetables, so I've got some nice fresh veg there, or you could use frozen veg if you had some, or tinned veg. I'm using whole wheat noodles today, but you could put in rice noodles, you could put in egg noodles, you could put in spaghetti if you didn't have any noodles. Then just a splash of soy sauce and some sesame oil, and then I've got some garlic granules or fresh garlic, chilies, crushed chilies or chili powder that you can pop in as well if you wanted to. So there's lots of different options for today. So the first thing I'm going to do today is get our noodles into a bowl. So I'm just putting that in a bowl, and then I'm going to cover them with some boiling water, and just while we prepare everything else, we're just going to let them soak nicely and absorb all that water. So it's boiling water. I'm just going to put that to one side just to let it soak. So I'm going to chop up a few of my fresh veg today first. So what we're going to do is, I've got some baby sweet corn which I'm just going to chop into slices. It's really important to give all your fruit and veg a wash before you use it, just to get rid of any of those pesticides and things that might be on the vegetables, any soil that's still on there. So I'm just going to chop up, I've got some mange two here, so we're just going to pop those in as well. I'm going to put mushroom in. You can peel your mushrooms if you want to, but you don't have to. The broccoli I'm just going to tear into little pieces. We need it to be quite small because it's quite hard, so it's going to take longer to cook than the other things that I've got in the bowl already. I'm going to chop up the stalk as well, because you can use the stalk. Just obviously the stalk's a bit tougher, so you need to make sure it's nice and small. Got a few bean sprouts here as well. I'm going to pop in. And then with the carrot, I'm just going to peel the carrot. So first I'm just going to peel it into my rubbish bowl. And then to make this easier to cook as well, I'm going to just keep peeling it so it comes off in nice ribbons. So you can put other things in as well, any other veg that you've got, courgettes, peppers, things like that. I'm going to put a handful of my frozen veg in too, which has got some nice chopped peppers in it. So you just keep going round until you've got your carrot. Try and hold on to it because it's a bit slippery. So as much as you want of that. Okay, so you need about a handful of veg per person or a bit more. You don't have to put any protein in. If you're not putting any meat or meat alternative in, then I would put a lot more veg in, and just bulk it out like that if you can. So then I'm just going to grab a bit of my frozen veg and add that in as well to the bowl. So as you can see, it's got some peppers and some onions and things in it too, as well as a bit more baby sweet corn, so that's quite nice. And then we can get started with some cooking. So I'm going to just show you what to do next. So we're going to start cooking our veg first. If you were using raw chicken, you'd need to put that in at this point as well. I'm just going to add a splash of oil to the pan. Just normal vegetable oil, and you don't have to if you don't want to, if you haven't got any. I'm just popping my gas on, and while I'm waiting for that to just get started, I'm just going to move the noodles around a little bit. Okay, and then just put them again to one side, just so that they really absorb the water. So you're just going to let your pan heat up for a minute, and then we're going to add in the vegetables. So we've added in all the veg together, and we're just going to cook it for a couple of minutes until the veg is nice and soft. Because we broke that broccoli up really nice and small, it shouldn't take very long to cook. I'm going to add in my vegetable protein that I had as well. Just get that cooking nicely. You can hear it sizzling. So with a stir fry you want a nice hot pan, because you're cooking it for a short amount of time, which means that everything in the pan will keep its colour as well, which means it's got more of the vitamins in it and it doesn't lose so much of the goodness. So I'm just cooking it through. If you are using a vegetable protein, you need to just check the packet and make sure that you cook it for however long it tells you to. If you were using the tinned pork, you'd dice that up and you need to make sure that it's piping hot, so all the way cooked through. Obviously if you were using raw meat, you'd make sure that it was completely cooked, so you could cut a piece in half and just check that it's cooked all the way through before you added anything else to the pan. So just keep it moving so it doesn't stick or burn to your pan, because you don't want it to stick or burn to the pan. Okay, you can see a couple of bits of my frozen sweet corn are still frozen because they're stuck together. There we go, just break them apart. Okay, and then I'm going to add in a splash of soy sauce. So it's about a dessert spoon per person, roughly, which I've managed to spill all over my cooker nicely. So just add that in and give it a good mix round. You can see that the veg is absorbing the soy sauce. I've chosen one that was low salt variety because it has got some salt in, and little children don't need very much salt in a day. It's less than a gram for an under one, less than 2 grams for toddlers. Right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drain my noodles. So I'll just show you me draining them. I'll just drain them into a pan so you can see me doing it. I'm just going to put that on there. Just going to drain the water away because we don't need that anymore. Okay, and then you can obviously do that over the sink. I've just done it in the pan to show you. Just going to move that out the way. I'm going to tip it into our pan with the vegetables, and then you need to move it around, break up those noodles and make sure they get mixed in really nicely with all the veg, because what tends to happen is you end up with all the veg on one of the sides. So try and mix it nicely round, keep stirring. The noodles are starting to take up the soy sauce as well that was in the pan, so that's nice as well. I'm tying them in a bigger knot than they were already. Okay, and then the last thing we're going to add, if you want to add a pinch of chilli powder you could at this point, or you could add some crushed chilies or even fresh chilli if you wanted to. If you do use fresh chilli, just make sure you wash your hands afterwards, because it stings if you touch anything. I've got some garlic granules. I might just add a few of those in, just to give it a bit of garlic flavour. You could use the fresh garlic like I had as well if you wanted to. You can get frozen puree as well, or garlic puree in a tube like tomato puree that you could use, just to give it a bit of extra flavour. And then all we're going to do is I'm just going to add a splash of sesame oil, which gives it a nice nutty flavour. Okay, and you just mix that round, and we're just adding that oil at the end because it gives it a nice flavouring, and we don't want to cook it off too much in the sesame oil. Okay, and there you have it, your stir fry, and it's ready to be served. So I'm just going to pop a few of our noodles into, it's easier to put them in a bowl actually, I find, to serve it up at the end, and then make sure you get all the veg in as well, so it's got all your nutrients, all those vitamins and minerals. You can see that they haven't lost their colour. I'm going to use the spoon to scrape the last few bits in. There we go. Let's move that out of the way. And that's ready to serve. Lovely stir fry.